Hello viewers, thank you for tuning into this video. The vehicle that we're working on today is a 2008 Mercedes Benz C300. A little bit of background on the vehicle is that it was purchased at auction recently and it had several issues. One of the issues is that the lights on the rear of the vehicle are all inoperative with the exception of the high mount brake light and one license plate light. And also the radio is inoperative and the cooling fan is inoperative. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to verify the customer's concern. We're going to make sure that the lights truly are not working on the back, and we're going to check the front lights, make sure they're all operating the way they should be. And then what we're going to do is a quick visual inspection of the trunk area to make sure that everything looks like it's intact and nothing's taken apart or disconnected. Alright, so what we're going to do now is check the operation of the front lights. We can see that both headlights have illuminated and the marker lights have illuminated. The left turn signal is working. The right turn signal is working. And the high beams are working. If we move to the rear of the vehicle, you'll see that the high mount brake light is functioning. Neither the left or right brake lights are working, but if you also notice, one of the license plate lights is illuminated at all times. The next step that I want to take is I just want to do a quick visual inspection of the trunk area and make sure everything looks like it's intact and nothing's been taken apart. This vehicle doesn't look like it's been taken apart, so I'm not too concerned about anything being disconnected or unplugged, and I want to move as little as possible around so I don't unintentionally fix the problem before I know what it is. So the next thing I want to do is I want to hook up a scan tool, and we're going to do an all system scan, which means we're going to scan all of the modules and see what codes are in those modules. I also want to determine which modules control our lights. And then what I want to do is I want to go into those modules and I want to see what data those are seeing. So the inputs and the outputs, I want to see what the module's seeing when we turn the switch on or hit the brake lights. And I also want to see what the output is whenever we do that also. And that will tell us a lot about what we have going on and which direction we're going to go from there. All right, so the scan tool that we're going to be using today is the Autel MaxiSys. We're going to click on Diagnostics. We're going to choose European, and then we're going to choose Mercedes Benz. After we choose Mercedes Benz, this box will pop up and we'll click on Standalone Diagnostics and hit OK. And then it's going to ask us if we want to do an automatic identification of the vehicle. We'll click on that and then we'll hit read. And that will pull up the VIN number for the vehicle, and then we will hit OK. So it's going to give us several options here. We're not going to change any of these. It is not an AMG, and those are the correct engine and transmission numbers. So we'll hit OK. And then we'll hit yes. After verifying all of this information is correct, we'll go ahead and hit diagnosis. This is going to load. And then we're going to do an auto scan, which is going to scan all of the modules on the vehicle. And it's going to list them all. And then it's going to give you how many codes each one of those modules has in it. So now the scan tool is doing a full system scan, and it's scanning every single one of the modules in the car. So you can see over on the right side there, the ones that are in red and have a number next to them, that's how many codes that module has in it. And then if it's in black, it passed and it doesn't have any codes in that module. So we'll wait for this to get done and then we'll continue on. Before we continue on with looking at our scan data, I want to pull up a description and operation of how the exterior light switch works and how it communicates with the modules on the vehicle, so that we can better understand what's happening whenever we turn the switch to any given position. So if we take a few seconds to look at our description and operation of how the exterior light switch works, we'll see that it gives us quite a bit of information about location and design. I'm not really too concerned about location. I know where it's at. And then the design, I'm not really too worried about either. All I want to know right now is how that switch is sending information to the module to turn the lights on. So if you read the last sentence of the paragraph under our illustration, it says that the position of the exterior light switch is read in by the front SAM control unit with fuse and relay module via the instrument panel LIN. So what that means is that when you turn that switch to any one position, it sends that information via that network communication line to the instrument cluster, and then it sends that information to the front SAM module to control the lights on the front of the vehicle. Now that we know how our exterior light switch communicates with the front SAM module and the instrument cluster, we'll go ahead and look at our scan data and see what our inputs and outputs are saying when we put that switch in each one of those positions. So if you take a look at our scan data, you'll notice that when I start switching the switch to different positions, the module is seeing that I'm turning the switch on and off, depending on which position I've got the switch turned in. So this right here is our manual driving lamps and our automatic on and off driving lamps that I'm controlling with the switch, and the module is seeing those inputs from the switch. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and switch over to our exterior lighting PID list. And whenever I operate the headlights, you'll see that both of those PIDs switch to on. So my left low beam and my right low beam are both indicating that they're on. And then when I operate my turn signals, which I just operated my left front turn signal, it's saying that it's going on and off, and then my right front is switching from on to off also. So what that means is that module is getting those inputs from those switches, and it is telling the module to turn those lights on. So I know that my module is getting the information that it wants to see on the front SAM module to control the front lights, which I was never concerned with the front lights because we know that they're operating the way they should be, and our concern is with the back lights. So let's go see what controls our back lights versus our front. So if you take a look at our wiring diagram, you'll see that our rear SAM module is what controls the outputs to our rear tail light assemblies. So whether we're using the turn signals, using the brakes, or turning the headlights and tail lights on, that module is sending those powers to those bulbs when the module sees those inputs. All right, now that we've taken a look at our wiring diagram and we know that the rear SAM module is what controls the rear tail lights, we'll go ahead and look at our scan data and see what our data PIDs are saying whenever we are trying to command the tail lights, brake lights, and turn signals on. So if we see that it is getting that information and it is able to interpret that information to send out a request, but it's not actually able to send out the request, we will know that the module is unable to control those drivers to supply power to each one of those bulbs whenever we try to operate those lights. So we'll test that and we'll see what we get whenever we test it, and then we will see if we can manually operate those lights whenever we are back there at the rear SAM module. All right, so what we'll go ahead and click on is our exterior lighting. And then we'll go to our rear turn signal lamps. So if you take a look at our data page, you can see that my right rear turn lamp is switching from active to not active. So that means that the module is able to receive that information and interpret it, but it is possible that it is not able to send out that request to actually operate that turn signal. So what we'll do now is we will go back to the rear SAM module and we will back probe the right rear turn lamp wire that leaves the module and goes to that turn signal bulb. When we back probe it, we'll use a power probe to see if we are getting power from that module whenever we are turning the turn signal on. Our next step is going to be to verify that we have both of our power feeds and both of our grounds at our rear SAM module. It is important to make sure that you always have powers and grounds at every module before doing any testing. And we do. The wire that we're going to be back probing is the black and green wire. That is the wire for the right rear turn signal lamp. The wire that we are going to be back probing and checking is the black and green wire for the turn signal. If you look at the power probe, you'll see that the light is illuminated green. That means that it's picking up a ground through the light bulb to ground. Whenever the light bulb should be powered on from the module, the opposite side should turn red, indicating that there is power being supplied to the light bulb from the rear SAM module. As you saw, we were able to manually power up the right rear turn lamp using our power probe. You saw that we had ground through the bulb, and then when we tried to activate our turn signal, we were not able to get power to be supplied by the SAM module. To recap, we verified the customer's complaint. We determined that the rear brake lights, turn signals, and marker lights were all inoperative. We verified the operation of the front turn signals, the front headlights, and the front high beams. We then looked at scan data to determine our inputs and outputs for both the front and rear SAM module. And then we went back to the SAM module and verified our wiring by using our power probe, and we saw that we had ground through the light bulb, but we were not getting our rear SAM module to supply power to our light bulbs. Our rear SAM module is faulty. Thank you all for taking the time to view this case study. I hope that you will be able to apply what you learned and that you find the information in this video valuable and educational. Thank you.